Fight fam, what it do? So we back at it. Time to try to make some money this week. So we have Kenshiro Teraji versus Ricardo Sandoval in an absolute banger in Japan happening this week. If you all don't watch the Japan cards, I know they come on early, like 4 in the morning Eastern, but I promise you it will be worth you waking up to watch them because they are always action packed. The Japanese fighters are very professional. They come to bring it. There's no running around the ring, as people like to say. The Japanese fighters come to fight, and we have an epic matchup happening between Kenshiro Taraji, who a lot of people consider him top 10 pound for pound, and Ricardo Sandoval. So we're going to take a look at the comparison between the two, and then I'm going to talk about each individual fighter, and then we're going to look at the odds, and I'll let you know where I will be putting my money for this particular fight this week. All right, so we're going to start with Kenshiro Teraji. Now, he has had some tough fights, and he goes out there and lays it all on the line. Actually, in his last matchup against Seigo Akui, he got a stoppage in the 12th round. The ref stopped it, but going into that last round, he was up on one scorecard, and the other two judges had him down by 1 point going into the 12th round. So the 12th round was going to decide that fight, and Taraji was able to turn it up, get the stoppage. A lot of people thought the stoppage was questionable until they saw Akui's blood leaking everywhere on the ref when the ref stopped the fight. So Taraji is definitely game, has an amazing endurance. Now let's go through the stats and I'll talk about his strengths versus his weaknesses. So Kenshiro Teraji is 25-1. It's a big favorite for the fight. Fighting out of Japan, Kyoto, Japan to be exact. He is 33 years old. He fights at 112 pounds, 5 feet 5 inches, and his reach is 64 inches. Now, Ricardo Sandoval, he is 26-2, fighting out of Rialto, California, 26 years old, fights at 112 pounds, height is 5 feet 6 inches, and reach is 67 inches. So he is 1 inch taller than Taraji, and he has 3 inches of reach on Taraji. Now, let's look at Kenshiro Teraji. So he has been matched up tough. He's been in some wars. Typically, fighters out of Japan, especially the top guys, they are having tough fights like early on. Like, they of course get their feet wet in a professional game, but a lot of the fighters in Japan, they can fight. So they're very explosive, and then they fight with pride. So there's not a lot of running around. Yes, they're boxing. Kenshiro Taraji has great movement. He moves in, he moves out. He doesn't have the best head movement, which does worry me at times because he has that warrior spirit. So if you hit him with a good shot, he's going to stand in there and fight, which we saw in his last fight against Akui. And I believe Akui was hurting Taraji at points, but Taraji is in excellent shape. His conditioning is amazing because he was able to fight back and then get the stoppage late in the fight. Now, one of the keys I think Taraji's going to need for this fight is to get on that jab early and often. So at times he does get too busy head hunting. When that right hand lands to people's head, it is very effective. But he's an excellent body puncher, especially that straight right hand to the body. Has excellent uppercuts. So just remember to mix it up, but set up everything off of the jab because, he's been in wars. You never know when he's going to catch a good shot to the chin and it's going to be lights out. So I don't expect him to move his head a lot because that's not something he's particularly done in the past, but I do expect him to use his feet to get in, throw his combinations, get out, move around the ring, use that explosiveness, and use that speed. Now, conditioning wise, Taraji can fight at a high pace for all 12 rounds, which I think is definitely going to work to his advantage. And he does have a chin. He can take a heck of a shot and he can deliver the punishment right back. So I wouldn't be surprised if Taraji was actually got hurt at some point in this fight. But I think he can fight his way out of it because he's done it in the past. And he's not going to be one of those fighters that retreats or tries to hold when he gets hurt. His response is going to be throwing punches back, which can be dangerous, but that's what makes for an exciting fight. Now, on the other hand, Ricardo Sandoval. Now, he's younger. He's 26 years old. So he's 7 years younger. And Ricardo Sandoval loves to go to the body. Has excellent body punching ability. Has tight defense. Very fundamentally sound. Now, as far as movement goes, I believe Taraji is quicker and more explosive. But Sandoval does do a good job at cutting off the ring and cutting down the distance, and he will have the reach advantage here. But since he's a body puncher, he is going to have to take some risk getting to Taraji's body, and those uppercuts are going to be coming at Sandoval, I believe. So it's going to be risky, but if he wants to slow Taraji down, then the body punches are going to be the answer to slowing him down later in the fight. Now, I do see this fight going the distance. However, I also can see Ricardo Sandoval, if Taraji gets like reckless and gets too excited, then Sandoval can catch him and can drop him in between shots. But if I had to like bet my money on that, I don't see that happen. I think Taraji's going to come out victorious in a decision victory. I think it'll be a tough fight, but I think in the later rounds he will be able to pull away from Sandoval. But I don't think he will stop Sandoval. Sandoval has never been stopped before. However, he's never fought anybody like Taraji before, so that's also something to keep in mind as well. Now, as far as Sandoval having a 3 inch reach, yes, it would make sense for him to, get on his jab early. But I just think with Taraji's speed, I think that Taraji does a good job at jabbing with his opponents. So if he thinks Sandoval is going to get that jab out, then I think Taraji's going to get his out and double and triple it up to negate the jab of Sandoval. I think Sandoval's game plan needs to be to break Taraji down by the body and to be careful and watch out for the uppercuts, and then to make sure when Taraji's exiting that he's going to cut down the ring. Do not follow Taraji because he will catch you on the counter if you try to follow him directly out from him throwing shots. He's very ticky, very light on the feet. Now, we're going to look at the odds. Let's see what the numbers are for this fight. So I'm going to check out Hard Rock betting app. I'm in Florida for those of you all that don't know. So that's the app that I have to use to bet. Now, these fights are on Wednesday, but sometimes, I'll be honest, Hard Rock is sometimes like slow when it comes to updating the odds. And the fact that it's in Japan, we'll see what we have right now. We might just have like money line odds. Oh, it said they text my number, but I'm recording with my phone, so I can't get the text. So let me see if there's another way I can look at the book. Okay, sport book, because they should let me look at the odds without logging in. Okay, maybe. Oh, let me see. Okay, maybe not. All right, so let's just go to we'll look at the odds on DraftKings, because normally the odds on DraftKings and Hard Rock are pretty similar. So we go to boxing odds. Let's see what we have here. Now this is going to be interesting because it's a fight over in Japan, and not a lot of people in the United States follow Japanese boxing outside of like the Naiwa Inoue or Hunto Nakatani. But the fights in Japan are some of my favorite fights to watch, and these guys dominate the lower weight divisions, like completely dominate. Oh wow. So for Kenshiro Teraji, he is a minus 550 favorite, and Ricardo Sandoval is plus 370. Okay, so yeah, I think those odds are too wide. I do think Taraji's going to win the fight, But like I said earlier, he throws a lot of punches and he can get caught in between the shots. He's been in wars, but I would not lay minus 550 even in a parlay for Taraji. Um, Now they don't have method of victory odds, but if I was going with method of victory odds, I would have to see what it is for Taraji by decision. But when they do release the total rounds, I'll be interested in that. I'll let you all know in like my posted section if I'm a bet on that because I think I will like the over total rounds here. I don't think that'll be too crazy because Kenshiro Teraji is very explosive, throws a lot of volume, throws a lot of punches. So he can also get Ricardo Sandoval out of there. I didn't say that earlier, but that definitely could happen with his punching power, with throwing those uppercuts and throwing that right hand. But I think both guys make it the distance. Now, would somebody get dropped in this fight? Possibly, but I wouldn't bet on that. There's another fight on this card where I would like to bet the over zero point 0.5 knockdowns. I'll do a video on that before Wednesday comes to let y'all know what fight. Well, I'll tell you what fight now. It's the Antonio Vargas versus Dago Higa fight. I don't think that fight is going the distance, and I think there will be over zero point 0.5 knockdowns. But I'll do a separate video on that specifically because that fight is going to be fireworks. So yeah, I got Kenshiro Taraji by decision. I'm not betting on that. I'm going to wait to see what the odds are for the fights to go over the total rounds, and we may put that in a parlay. But of course, I will keep you all posted. So let me know you all's thoughts on the fights below. Who do you all think winning? How do you see the fight going? And what do you think of boxing in Japan if you follow it? Unfortunately, I won't be able to live stream. I don't think because I normally have a 5 a.m. client on Wednesday. But if something happens to where that gets changed around and I can somehow live stream, then I'll do that. But I don't know how many people will be up for a Japan card. But if you're willing to get up for a Japan card in the future, just let me know, and I'll focus on trying to get a live stream like super early in the morning. All right, catch you all later. Peace.